Well, hey everyone, Dylan here, and welcome to last week's episode of AEW Dynamite. It was the first episode on HBO, not called that anymore, Max, and we're going to see how well it did. So without any more further ado, this is the shortest intro I think I've ever done. Let's get into it. Their official title for this is AEW Fight for the Fallen for January 1st, so whatever you want to call it, that's what I'll call it. Let's get into it. So just a little prelude before we get into it. I haven't watched AEW, at least in a year and a half, tuning in, not even weekly, but tuning in once a month to it at least. Both because I've been on and off with cable for a bit, and also because just so much drama has happened during that time. It kind of soured me away from the AEW product. Since it decided to go over to Max as a streaming service, by the way, thank you to all these companies that are deciding to go to streaming services now. I appreciate it. I already have these streaming services. I don't have to pay for stupid cable. Since they're deciding to go onto a streaming service like Max, for the time being, I can actually review these episodes because it's within the financial budget. So I figured there's no time like the present. Let's tackle it. Let's get back into AEW. I've watched little cliff notes here and there about the Death Riders and the Swerve Hangman feud, stuff like that here and there. I've watched or seen little cliff notes on, but I haven't solidly tuned in for a while. So this is good place to start back up, right? Who knows? Let's find out. So off the bat, they have a little intro. I won't talk about the intro going forward, but I have to talk about it right now since I haven't tuned in for a while. So this one starts off with, I don't know the official title for this song, but it's the one that's I'm so excited, I just can't hide it. And you know the song. I don't have to sing it, but you get what I'm saying. So I thought that was an interesting choice. I figured this was one of their one-off show themes, hopefully, if that's the theme going forward. Interesting decision, that's all I'll say. I also noticed not criticizing them off the bat, just calling out what I see. Their intro heavily relies on their talent that are former WWE stars in it. I didn't see too many former New Japan stars that have gone over there, for example. I didn't see an Osprey that he might be in it, I don't know. But you get what I'm saying. When we go to the in-ring action, they have their normal Dynamite song playing in the background. So again, I'm just going to I presume it's their normal theme. I don't know. I haven't listened. Last I heard, their normal theme was the light the fuse is Dynamite. I don't really know at this point what their normal theme is anymore. You kind of hear something in the background that's not the I'm so excited I just can't hide it song. As Excalibur is running down the card, you get to see kind of Okada arrive into the arena in the background, so that was kind of cool. After we get a rundown of the card, we get a pre-taped promo from Jon Moxley in the background, his Death Rider group. He talks about how everybody says that they were going to beat him at the pay-per-view, which happened, I think, Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. But when push comes to shove, he's the only one that could back up what he was talking. And he goes on throughout the promo to say how he's carried this company through everything, including a pandemic, and every obstacle thrown at him he's gotten past. Then he grabs a briefcase, which I believe the title is in it. He says that he will melt that down and then sink that to the bottom of the ocean if that's what it takes to burn this company down. Oh, okay, but then you're not officially a champion anymore, so who's that really hurting? He then talks about how he is the king of this show and that Copeland was just the loudest guy in the room, and he'll see him later on tonight, I think. Afterwards, we get a promo from, what do they call themselves? FT Rated R, which, by the way, stable booking in my head. We get Rated RKO and FTR together. We get FT Rated RKO. Make it happen, Tony. You got the wallet. Later on during the main event, They just call him Cope, which I think is his new name. Cope cuts a little promo backstage saying that Mox wants to try to take out all of his friends, and he's more sick than Mox ever could be. He'll take him out, and he'll see him later on in that ring to prove that he's right. Afterwards, FTR cuts a little promo saying the same thing. They talk about how they're in North Carolina, so they're doing a little charity event. And then they say something like, they do their little, like, Top Guys out, only it's like FT rated R out. After that, hide your houses, because we get a match with Orange Cassidy against Hangman Adam Page. Yeah, that's right. I'm at least a little bit topical when it comes to AEW. As an OG AEW fan that hasn't probably tuned in fully, at least week to week since the pandemic, I appreciate still seeing some OG guys wrestle each other. It warms my heart. It makes me think about like the first time I put on Dynamite. So good job to whoever booked this, putting in like some OGs at the beginning, so that way you can hook like the casual viewer that hasn't watched in probably like 4 years. During this match, I commented on the ring real quick. Again, I'm not going to comment on all these little things throughout the week. Well, I guess, throughout the weeks that I do Dynamites and Collisions. But I heard a lot of criticisms, including myself, after like I seen a couple clips of it on the former AEW. It was very dark and gloomy colored. I didn't appreciate their color schemes they picked. But for this one, the ring feels like it's very vibrant. It feels very lit up, and it feels like an arena like you would want to be in. You know what I mean? Instead of just like, why am I watching this? This match was great. During this match, the announcers also plug that everything in AEW, they said originally everything in AEW since 2019 will be available in the HBO library. What they meant to say was everything that happened in 2019 and everything that's happening this year will be on HBO's library. Let me tell you, I know, just a spoiler for what I'm going to say at the end, I had to put the WWE Retros on hiatus a bit because Netflix sucks, but if for some reason Netflix buys out the full WWE catalog like I know they're going to, and I quote-unquote have to do retro reviews on AEW and WWE programming, that is a sick joke towards me, you fucks. Alright, during this match they just beat the absolute shit out of each other, and I can't get over the fact how happy I am that this is opening the show. Match keeps on going, and Hanger ultimately wins with a buckshot lariat. And then after he wins, he beats down OC after the match, and he spikes him with 2 dead eyes in the middle of the ring. Christopher Daniel then comes out and like is questioning Hangman. It's like, why are you doing this? Come on, man. And in retaliation, Hangman ends up beating up Daniels for that. Kind of see towards the ramp, Hangman starts to say like, stay out of my business, Daniels. And Chris is just holding his head, kind of being like, why'd you do that, man? I like this whole like, Hangman doesn't really realize what he's doing. He's kind of going too far thing. I appreciate that. Plus, eventually this means I get to see a Christopher Daniels match again in my life, so that works for me. After that, we have another pre-recorded backstage promo, and I'm just going to put a pin in things right now. There's a lot of these. I appreciate promos throughout a show, but I would appreciate it more if they had the promos like if they had an interview stage backstage and they sprinkled in some of these pre-recordings, or better yet, if they saved some of these pre-recordings for Collision to build towards Dynamite, because let's be honest, push comes to shove, Collision is your B show. Everybody knows it. That's your selling point, that Dynamite is the be-all, end-all. So if you have a B show, it would make sense if you're promoting other shows on that show. Anyway, back to the actual programming. Jey White gives a backstage promo that says, due to Utah, Wheeler Utah that is, 2025 isn't starting off as he planned. Later on tonight, he will beat Roderick Strong and Swerve Strickland. And by the way, they have a 3-way match where the winner goes on to the Casino Battle Royale next week. That popped me. And he told them that it's nothing personal. He also mentions that next week, again, the Battle Royal Gauntlet will be there. So, again, it's refreshing to me as an OG AEW fan to know that I don't think the programming schedule has changed that much within the last 4 years. I know they have, like, a Forbidden Door, which I think If I'm not mistaken, I saw the very first Forbidden Door and kind of tuned out after that. I don't know. It's nice. It's nice that they can add things, but as far as the OG schedule is concerned, it's kind of staying on the same track. After that, we get our first shot of the ramp, and I think this was the same exact ramp they had, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm happy that they reincorporated the hills and face tunnels. They had it for a brief period. They got rid of all those tunnels, and then they brought them back. It made me happy that they brought them back. It's a good way to stand out from your competition. Plus, a good way to bring back some of the old school wrestling that I'm a sucker for. The Acclaimed come out of the face one, I believe, and they show a pre-recorded tape where Max is trying to hype up Bowens, but Bowens confronts him about hitting him with the title last week. That apparently happened. They start arguing, and Max says that Bowens needs to cut out all the comedy stuff against the Hurt Business. That he's not even going to rap going to the ring. That's how serious they need to take this. So, I mean, obviously, unless they do a little swerve, Max is going to be the one to betray Bowens and go to the Hurt Business. But if they did the opposite, you know how crazy that would be? You know how much I would appreciate Bowens as a heel instead of Max? Because Max as a heel is the given thing. And no offense, he's got one of those personalities as a character that he's so dickish, it's easy to boo him. So it makes sense that he's a heel, but also Bowens as a heel. Just throwing that out there, AEW Creative. Or maybe both of them. Alright, whatever. MVP ends up joining commentary for this match, and I appreciate a non-watered down Hurt Business. I know they're actually the Hurt Committee or something. I think that's what it is. I think they're the Hurt Committee, but I'm going to call them the Hurt Business because that's what I know them as. During this match, had some back and forth. Max ends up tagging himself in. He tried that spot, a move earlier, but he ends up missing it, so they do a different version of that same spot to get there. And it ends up pissing off Bowens, so where he just ends up going outside the ring to watch his partner get beaten down. Lashley spears Max, and one arm chokeslam throws him, and then he puts the Hurt Lock on him to win. He holds it on for a little bit longer, and Bowens ends up walking out on his so-called partner. How will they ever cooperate or coexist? I actually like this. I appreciate slow breakups on tag teams. Plus, I mean, I guess they kind of needed that. To be fair, the Acclaimed has been a tag team for 4 years at this point, if not longer. So it's either give them all the titles and just keep them up with the same act, or maybe put a new layer of paint on them. I'm interested to see what this paint will do. After that, we get Swerve backstage in an interview with Prince Nana, and he apologizes to everybody who's been cheering his name in the crowd for the past few weeks because he feels like he let them down. He says that tonight it ends because in the three-way he'll earn a spot in the gauntlet next week and he'll win. And let me just say, Swerve is the most over act in AEW right now. Golly, the whole time he's there, you can hear the crowd doing the whole, whose house? Swerve's house thing. When we come back from commercial, we have a Jamie Hayter versus Julia Hart match. And by the way, since House of Black has adopted Julia Hart into their stable, I don't think I've commented on the theme. Freaking 10 out of 10 theme song. I listen to this while I'm at work, regretting where I'm working at. I'm just you know what? This is a bopper song. Match ends up ending with Julia Hart bringing in an arrow. It looks like she's going to hit her with it. But she actually uses that as a distraction because I think Aubrey Edwards was the ref at this. She grabs the arrow, goes outside the ring, and that's enough of a distraction for Jamie Hayter to get hit with the mist. Unfortunately, the mist doesn't black spew as it's supposed to. We just see her basically spin in her face. But that's okay because Jamie sells it. She has to have medical attender afterwards and everything. I appreciate that. She stuck with it. After that, we get a hype package for Flatcher versus Osprey. See, I understand the purpose of these hype packages, but also they need to be maybe on a Collision or something like that, considering Collision's your, at least from the perspective I see it as, a Collision is your filler show, not your main show. After that, we see a hype package for Kenny versus Okada, and they tease that Kenny Omega will be on Dynamite next week, and you can hear audible boo from the crowd at that point. Like they're literally like, and then like you see the next week pop up and you can hear them just go boo. After that, we get another hype video package, because why not? This one kind of makes sense because it's Okada hyping up how great he is, how he's the king of tournaments and all that. Again, I appreciate these, but maybe use them more sparingly. I know this is like a big event where you're trying to get everybody like who hasn't watched it for a while, like me, caught up with the storylines. But maybe if you're doing that, maybe you should like maybe bring the wrestlers in to work a match or two. I don't know. Sorry, my vocals are not fully back. I just killed that bit. After that, Mercedes Moné comes out, and she has an in-ring freaking promo that honestly could have been pre-recorded. I'm sorry. I'm always happy to see Mercedes, but all she's doing is talking about how great 2024 was. She sends it to a hype video on her 2024, which was a great freaking year. And then she's going to say 2025 will be Money too. And she cuts a promo on Wrestle Dynasty at this point. We are packed with freaking wrestling. And let me tell you, if there's a way I can watch the Noah event, Wrestle Kingdom, or Dynasty for free, I will. And I will gladly give you all a review on those. I love New Japan events. Which I know technically Wrestle Dynasty is like New Japan plugged with AEW, and Noah's its own company, but also Noah is fucking great. I just love wrestling, okay? After that, they do like a little promo for the charity that they're doing in Asheville. That's cool. After that, we get another promo from the Undisputed Era. The Undisputed Kingdom. I wasn't going to call them by any other name. They cut a promo backstage talking about how this year will be a solid year for them, and that Roderick's going to win the gauntlet tonight. Yeah, and then they throw it up. Actually, no, I don't think they do the hand thing. My only question is, where's the fish? Where's Bobby? I know he's not under AEW contract anymore, but I mean, come on. Come on. We then get the three-way that's been hyped up between Roderick, Swerve, and Jey White. Freaking love Swerve Strickland so much. I've seen clips throughout the week of Swerve like throwing toilet paper at Ricochet when he's in the ring. I found that pretty funny, like handing out toilet paper to the crowd. That was hilarious. Speaking of which, though, it does cost him the match, because like Swerve has this high point where it's like, oh, he could win the match, and he goes against the barricade. Somebody in the crowd just hits him right behind the back, and then pulls out a pair of scissors and stabs him in the forehead when he gets back up to confront him, and chap. It was freaking gross. They got an audible like, oh! And then you get a second, the guy kind of reveals himself, and it's Ricochet, that bastard. Roderick Strong is in the ring. Jey White comes in. He gives Roderick a Blade Runner, and Jey White ends up pinning him for the win. So that's right. Jey White moves on to the Casino Battle Royale next week. Roderick Strong's got this good underdog story building for him, and Ricochet and Swerve are in this like little mini feud, which gives Swerve something to do until he goes to the main event again. But that doesn't matter, because freaking Swerve had to like blade coast to coast on this. Either that or he hit that like main artery or vein that's like right there, because he had a crimson mask. Holy shit, it was so bad. Ricochet threatens to stab Prince Nana with those scissors when he tries to like help out his partner, so Nana backs off for a second. And Ricochet rolls Swerve into the ring after shoving these fucking scissors into his forehead. He literally, like, takes the blade and, well, I mean, you know, it's a work ski, but for the audience visual, he takes the blade and, like, shoves it into his forehead and gouges it that much deeper. God, it was freaking nasty. And the whole time he's doing it, he's got, like, this insane laugh. Kind of cringe, I'm not gonna lie. But he's got, like, this insane character going on. And he throws him into the ring. He gets a steel chair, and Prince Nana finally says that he's had enough. He's going to help his friend, and he takes one chair shot and he's out. Ricochet then goes into the ring. He's got, like, Swerve's blood all over his white shirt, and he ends up sitting the chair down and just laughing, waiting for Swerve to get up. He sits a minute, and he gives him a clothesline from one ring post to the middle of the ring to end the segment. God, I can't wait to see how messed up this match gets. Undisputed Kingdom come out ultimately to save him, and Ricochet forgets he has scissors and could literally shank everybody right now if he so chooses. So he ends up running out of the ring and just laughing and going up the ramp. Yui helps up Swerve, and as Medical takes care of him, and that's all we see as we go to the break. We come back and we see Slapnut, Jeff, haha, JERRETT. Not him specifically. We see his group. I forget what they were called. I was trying to stall, okay? We see his group, and they're asked where he is, and nobody knows. And then Alex Marvez is asked to, leave. Jeff comes into shot and asks where Karen is. The group tells Jeff that no matter what his decision is, they 100% have his back. And Karen comes in a shot to say the same thing. He says thank you to them all. He looks very sincere. And he walks out to the ring. But before he walks out to the ring, he grabs his boots. They're tied together, kind of signaling like he's retiring. He's hanging the boots up, so to speak. Before we get that, we have a backstage promo where Mariah May holds her title and says that she is the women's division, and the women's division's doing great because she's carrying it. She says that everybody has to prove that they are good enough to challenge the woman from hell, and they need to step up if they think they can take it. Great promo. I really like that. That was a good way to give her something. I appreciated that. After that, Jarrett comes out to the ring with the guitar, is already in the ring, and he puts his boots down in the middle. Unfortunately, they're not facing hard camera, but whatever. He starts it off by, instead of keeping this serious tone, he starts it off by saying, Slappy New Year. And I appreciated that. And then he starts talking about everything he's accomplished in his career, everything his father has accomplished, everything his mother has accomplished. And he explains, his grandmother accomplished. And he explains that due to that one decision his grandmother made, he is now in the business. And he ultimately talks about how great TNA was without directly naming them. And then he asks himself if it's the time to hang it up. As he's doing this, I love when crowds react to kayfabe moments, but there's a new meta layer to the crowd where they're also kayfabing it. So somebody very sarcastically just yells out in the crowd "Don't do it, slime nuts!" It made me pop. He says the answer to him if he should hang it up is hell no. And he did all this to announce that he has signed his last professional wrestling contract and he wants one last ride. He wants the AEW championship. He threw his name into the gauntlet for next week, and he said that is his New Year resolution for 2025. See, I appreciate this because I know it's going to come with a lot of loss, a lot of so close moments for him, and there's going to be so much sympathy pulled for Slapnuts. But I really do think by the end of 2025, I think Jeff will be the champion. You know what? I'll say that. I think Jeff will win the title. Even if it is just a thank you, here's the belt, he's going to win the title. Either that or he's going to be if I don't win this title from you, Mr. Slapnuts, whoever that may be, then I'm going to officially retire. And then he loses, goes out in blaze of glory. After that, they do a video package showing the feud between... I wrote down... Oh, my bad. I wrote down Hook, and it auto-corrected to him. Well, they're not wrong. Between Hook and Christian's family. I think they're still called that, right? After that, we see a promo from Hook saying that next week on Dynamite, Maximum Carnage, the name of the show, he challenges Cage, a one-on-one match. Boo, no stipulation, boo. After that, we get Powerhouse Hobbs against two local jobbers, where, golly gee, I wonder who wins that feud. Spoiler alert, Hobbs squashed him. After that, we get a promo with Big Bill, and I think the other guy's name is Bad Apple. I don't know officially, so my apologies. Maybe that's his nickname. But anyway, he was saying that Chris Jericho won't be here, and then they run into Reddit FTR. Edge challenges them to a 3-on-3 for Collision. I think they have a little feud going on, I guess. Oh. After a commercial break, we come back and MJF gives a pre-recorded backstage promo. Pause real quick. I just want to thank Max from the bottom of my heart. They're not a sponsor for this video or anything, obviously, but I just want to thank them because for their pre-recorded stuff, if there's commercial breaks and whatnot, I can literally skip over the whole commercial break. I don't have to watch it through. Thank you. But yeah, MJF pre-recorded thing. He recorded this after the pay-per-view, after his match. And he said that this part of his feud with the whole Adam Cole versus him thing is over with. Everybody says, yay! And then he says that in 2025, Retribution is what he looks for. He wants his Triple B back, and he's coming for Mox to get what's his. And he said it more poetically than that, but that's Cliff Notes. After that, Death Riders come out for their 3v3 against Rated FTR, who come out next. Before this match even begins, my bets were that shenanigans are going to cost Rated FTR. Boy, was I wrong, but there are shenanigans. Also, as I kind of spoiled earlier today, Adam Copeland is now just called Cope. Near the end of the match, Mox tries to pile driver Cope through the announce table, which, by the way, it's like a new announce table. It looks literally like if you took a table and like bulked up the table and then put like an apron over it and put like an announcer thing on top of it. It looks good. But he tries to give him a pile driver through it. Copeland reverses it and dumps him to the floor and then does a crossbody on one of the barricades. Golly, this guy just came back from injury. It's like he forgot that. As the ref was distracted, taking care of like them two, Jey White took out, I think Yuta was in the ring. I think it was Yuta that was in the ring. Yeah. He took him out with a switchblade in the middle of the ring. I guess that's to get even on him for costing him the match, costing him the title during the pay-per-view. After that, FTR hit him with a shatter machine, and then Cope gives him a spear for the win for Rated FTR. I like that better. Is that what they're actually called, Rated FTR? Yeah, that's what they're actually called. Never mind. Sends the crowd home on a little happy note. Alright, this one's about a week late, give or take. Usually they'll come out the Thursday after the episode, or I guess in Collision's sake, the Sunday after Saturday. I think Collision's on Saturday. I don't know. Point taken, since today is, in parentheses, Wednesday, tomorrow on Thursday, the new episode of Dynamite will be uploaded sometime. So if you still want to continue on with this little journey, I'll see you tomorrow. Also, if you like WWE related stuff, I upload Raw. I upload the little Netflix one, episode 1 if you want to check that out. Alright, enough plugging. Bye!